Programming the access switches, which is switch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And they're right here laid out. There's two ways that I use the RS10. One is through a audio switcher, which is something like this GCX switcher, and you can see on the bottom that you have all these loops you can patch through this thing. Don't use those anymore. I used a Bob Bradshaw 2x4 for an awfully long time, but I kind of got away from using audio switchers just because I wanted to use the controller numbers on the units. If you're using analog pedals like distortion pedals and delay pedals and stuff like that, then an audio switcher you pretty much must use to kind of switch things in and out with the RS10. And then you can do MIDI programming with the pedals through the controller auto switcher, and then with just you can set it up as one preset, and you can have a delay box or distortion box or what have you, and then you bypass them in and out using the access switches. What I'm using is the controller numbers on the boxes, which are internal. And how I set that up is we go bank down and up. We have our PC1. This is our MIDI program channel control, and that's our port 1, port 2. Now switch 0, and switch 0 I'm not using. And then I have switch 1, which I use to controller number to bypass my eventide on my pedal board, the pitch factor. Then I come to here with this channel, and it's channel 2, which is the MIDI channel. And then I come controller, and that's the controller number, and that's controller 15, which is bypass. And that's what I set in there. So I would go 1, 5, it would blink, hit the switch, and I have controller number 15. All this is in the manuals that you use. So you have to look at each manual for each effect to use this. Otherwise it doesn't, it won't work. So we got that. So next go back to my function switch, and now on switch 2 I have the pitch factor for the rack, and so I want to bypass that using the RS10 instead of using, because it's mounted on the rack, and not use the pedal itself to activate and deactivate. So we go there, we got switch 2. I come here, that's going to be on MIDI channel 3. So each box has its own channel, and then it's talking individually, just like talking on the phone. You're calling somebody up, everybody needs their own phone number, or you don't get through to know anybody. So that's on MIDI channel 3. I go here, 15 again, because it's the same box as the eventide and pitch factor. Would have one on my pedal board. So I would go 1 on the switch, 5, switch 5, and it would blink, and I would store that. So now I can use switch 1 and switch 2 to bypass the effects. one on my pedal board and one in the rack. And the last one, we go back to the function select switch, and I want switch 3. So switch 3 is channel MIDI channel 4. It's 15 again, because these are the pedals I'm using, the time factor and pitch factor in the rack, and I want to be able to bypass ones that I'm not using. So again, we go switch 1, switch 5, light blinks, and we're good. So now I have used switch 1, 2, and 3, and now I can turn off and on the eventide on my pedal board, the eventide time factor in my rack, which is the blue pedal, and the pitch factor in my rack, which is the red pedal. And so now I'm good. I can just store all this stuff, and like we did before, and so on this patch PS1, I have the pedal board time factor on, and the pedal board pitch factor, and the pedal board and the rack time factor. So we have all those on, and all I got to do now is just worry about playing instead of scrolling up and down on these pedals.